One thing that I would go back to the LLMs or the GenAI, the clinical notes, right? So both for the patient, the summary, as well as for the providers, because even with EMRs, the biggest complaint you'll hear from a provider, it takes them so long to type in all that in. So even though there are those dictation tools and stuff, but now with the Gen AI, it's a totally different ball game.
A purchase order to have 400 cubic foot of data deleted in one absolutely destroyed in one data. Then my privacy officer said there are other locations that have as much as 17,000 cubic feet of data. I mean, just imagine the size of the volume of that data, right? You're talking about something like which is 20 feet wide, 20 feet across, and 20 feet up in the air. That's the pile of data that's sitting out there. And that's just a fraction of what we have. So who takes that responsibility? Who has the courage to make that call and say, yeah, delete it all?
Are you using AI or something like that for specific tasks? And if you are using for a specific task, then you can actually put the guardrails around that task and to be able to say, okay, this is what I expect to be efficacy of the model, this is what I'm, what I can check for, this is how I can stress it out, do sensitivity analysis, and so that would give pretty solid foundation for any audit defenses or some other regulators when they come to.
But what you can measure is the output and align to the use case. So as an example, in our industry, fair housing compliance are big deals, right? So we can test our models to make sure that they're not doing something that they're not supposed to do in Xchange. So that's, it's more the output and how it relates to the use case.
Several use cases around the deployment of AI and what they thought was AI and but in reality it was probably not as sophisticated, right? Most of the questions that come to you from business aspire to be one thing, but are actually largely BI dashboards that are being created.
The main thing is, instead of security owning the responsibility, the business should be owning the responsibility, data and ownership, right?
And now you're trying to tell them, no, IT is the owner maybe of the infrastructure piece, and the developers, and maybe ELT, ETL, maybe the transformation, but they don't own your data.
We ran a full 1 year pilot last year, right? And we ran it with about 50 of our developers. We worked very closely with Microsoft. So GitHub Copilot, we launched it. We said these 50 guys, we did frequent touch points, experience to freshers, varying degree of their codes being reviewed. The freshers basically accepted everything that came out of it, right? Experienced guys had a lot of feedback. The good part was, because it was not a code written by them, they were poking more holes into it.
No ego.
No ego, right? So that was really, really good.